Can any of you see?
I think it's gone too far now. I think, like you mentioned, there's been that apology and that wait for an apology that hasn't come. The only way I think it would be realistic is if Ten Hag wasn't there anymore and then he could come back under a new manager and maybe reignite his career at Manchester United that way. But I think for the short term, until the end of the season, it feels like a good decision. And I'm not saying, by the way, I'm not having any indication on Ten Hag and his managerial position. I'm just saying that's probably the only realistic option if there's a change in manager, because the relationship between the two of them is completely broken down. He's not involved in first team training. He's not got that relationship anymore. There's no real kind of attempts anymore to try and build that back up, is there? So you can't realistically say you can come back onto that and get back to the top.
Well, he's emblematic of Manchester United's transfer policy as of late. You bring in a player for big money, expect them to perform whilst not considering the system that they're being dropped into.
Oh, he went in. I was like, I'm not saying anything. And Craig was like,
no, it's true. No, it's true. And it's you can lay the blame at the door of Eric Ten Hag, but you can lay the blame at so many people, and that's the reason why Ineos have come in and they've got a new ruthless strategy. Melissa already talked about it in December about how Manchester United are going to be ruthless when it comes to contracts and when it comes to moving players on that don't fit culturally. And I think that Sancho is an example of that. And as a result of that, if Ten Hag does stay at United long term,
I can see him coming back. I can see him play for Manchester United again at some point and actually still being a success. I really do.
I think the only way that could happen is like Harriet suggests, if there was a managerial change at Manchester United and Eric Ten Hag wasn't there anymore. I think that's probably the only way. Football does change extremely quickly. I believe, in my opinion, Ineos' plan is to continue with Eric Ten Hag at least until the summer, get some calm, get some structural changes, and hopefully Eric Ten Hag can be at the helm with those changes around him and see a different look to Manchester United, a different feel. And I think if that still, I think it will, comes to an end at Borussia Dortmund, I think if Eric Ten Hag's still there, I think it'll be very, very unlikely. Unless here's an apology and the two can, shake hands and move on. Football, funnier things have happened in football, but I think it's extremely unlikely.
Comme tout lion, Mason. Comme tout lion.
Écrivez-le, on voit pas là-bas.
Mason. Mec, c'est n'importe quoi. La douleur, c'est n'importe quoi. Fais un check.
Il y a des choses.
High five. Mec, c'est à poil.
The football world is completely divided after Mason Greenwood's sensational return to Manchester United became the biggest story in global football. Under Michael Carrick's leadership, Manchester United are entering a brand new era filled with pressure, controversy, excitement, and massive expectations. Greenwood, once considered one of the brightest talents ever produced by the club's academy, is now back at Old Trafford with millions of fans watching his every move. Supporters across the world are debating whether this could become one of football's greatest redemption stories, or a decision that could create even more controversy around the club. Carrick reportedly wants to rebuild United with a faster attacking style, and Greenwood's finishing ability could become a key weapon in that system. But with social media exploding, critics speaking out, and football legends sharing different opinions, the pressure surrounding Manchester United has never been bigger. Every match, every goal, and every performance could change the direction of this dramatic story forever as the football world waits to see what happens next at Old Trafford.